Yeah, I knew we forgot something last night. And we got a couple calls today from people that watched last night. One of them was the governor of Connecticut, because when he was on the show in 2010, the first thing Daniel Malloy said was, "Where's the soup? I expected soup." So we made darn sure before he came back for the second time, hey, how about this?
Well, what do you know about that?
Before Daniel Malloy came back for the second visit, we made sure we at least had the bowls. So there we go.
Can we make it ding?
Welcome to Progressive Soup. My name is David Stevenson. I'll be tonight's host. And with us again, we have from last night, Kendall. Now, again, I've made the promise that I will not reveal Kendall's first name. Maybe we'll do that later in this show. Who knows? If you watched last night, you know. So don't tell anybody. So, Kendall, who's a radio show host on WXCI out of Western Connecticut State University, has a second show, as it turns out. The first show, if you watched last night, is Third Stone from the Sun, and if you're an aficionado of James Marshall Hendrix, also known as Jimi Hendrix, that was one of his more obscure songs, which was kind of mostly instrumental with a few.
And we should have talked about Three Little Bears, because that's a great Hendrix tune. That's not
Three Little Bears?
He does
Okay.
Three Little Bears, but see, we should.
No, wait a second now. But now
I know. Here we go. He does Three Little Bears.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear.
He tells us. You know how he can talk with his guitar, or he could talk with his guitar.
Yeah.
He talks with his guitar. Three Little Bears. You have to hear it. I'm not going to reveal any more about it. You have to hear it. That's your homework assignment.
I'm gonna find that, and then audience, you find it on YouTube also.
Three Little Bears.
Three Little Bears by Jimi Hendrix.
It's fantastic. Yes.
Report back and tell me about it in case I don't get to it before the next day or two. So you have this second show that you're going to tell us about.
I do. I started it about 2 years ago, and it's called Sunday Solstice Radio.
And let me guess. It's not a guess, actually. I looked at the thing. Solstice as in S-O-U-L?
Yes.
That's not an S-O-L-S-T-I-C-E. Okay.
Right. It's to be in tune with your higher self on Sunday mornings from 11 to noon. So it's just before Third Stone from the Sun. And it's really designed to sort of just have you, relax, get your Zen on. And I talk about spirituality. I wanted to do an on-air live meditation for listeners so that they don't have to leave their living room. I think a lot of people benefit from meditation but don't know how to do it, or would like to join a class but prefer to do it alone in solitude, which meditation is beneficial no matter what the environment is, but in solitude you are completely one with yourself. So by having an on-air live meditation, guided meditation with a different theme every week, it allows the listeners to join with me. And sometimes I guide the meditation with my voice. Other times I use other guided meditation recordings. But that's one of the things we do in the program. I talk about the difference between spirituality and religion, because I believe, for myself, I consider myself a spiritual person. And I believe that I am a soul in this life with a body. Most people think of themselves as, I have a body with a soul, but your soul is really in your, I am a soul, a spirit with a body, and this is the body that I have right now in this life. And so I talk about that and the 7 steps of self-mastery, and anyone can master their lives in the smallest or greatest of ways, depending on what your personal goals and wishes are, and how your energy is towards those goals. And so anyone who can follow the 7 steps of mastery can master anything in their life if they're dedicated to it, which is dedication is actually one of the 7 steps. So I wanted to honor Andrea White, who used to do a show called The Great Awakening at WXCI for many, many years. She was an incredible, incredible person who really inspired me and was a guru for me, if you will. And I used to come in, her show was from 6 to 10 a.m., and I would come in 2 hours early just to sit with her and listen. And
Nice.
A very wise soul she was. And I wanted to honor her, but also I was going through a tremendous amount of challenges in my life at once at that time. And I thought, the best way for me to maybe get something positive out of all the challenges I was facing was to share that with people and hopefully, encourage and inspire others to improve their lives or get to know themselves a little bit better or be open to, what, their spirituality means to them and what it can do for them.
So. I love the fact that you brought up spirituality. That wasn't really meant to be part of our discussion, but let's put it out on the table because as my audience knows, I'm a devout Christian religiously, but I'm also a Buddhist philosophically, and there's certainly no inconsistency in that. If you're in my mind's eye, if you're what I would consider to be a true Christian.
Yes.
And there are a lot of different kinds of Christians, and my good friend Marty Heiser and I have who also has a show on Comcast, which is curiously enough called The Marty Heiser Show. He and I have some agreement and some disagreement on what constitutes Christianity. Now, from my perspective, what constitutes Christianity is really essentially the same thing that constitutes Islam. It's the same thing that constitutes Judaism. It's the same thing that constitutes being non-denominational, non-religious even, atheist, agnostic, all of those things, in that all of us have that. We're all good people at heart, and we all have that same spirituality about us. Whether we play that out in a more traditional religious form, or whether we just sit and contemplate,
right,
as you talk about the meditation, yoga, any of the things that people do in order to get in touch with themselves, and by doing that, make themselves a better human being,
right,
and behave in such a way that they can feel comfortable with themselves,
right,
and that other people can feel comfortable with them.
Right. Well, so your relationship with yourself, Dave, is how you are going to relate to the world and to others around you.
Yeah.
And so when you consider the fact that, sometimes when we're, many people when we're children, I was raised Catholic, but I was very drawn towards Taoism and Buddhism, and I ended up studying a lot of comparative religions to find that common thread, which is really just love and compassion and consideration for, everyone around you, because you don't know what that person right next to you could be going through. And if you just take the time to, not just say the words, but have intention behind the words of, hey, how you doing today?
Yeah.
And just waiting for that answer. You don't know how much that could really mean to, just to one person. And so, so spirituality is a state of consciousness. It's a state of being. And it's very personal, but it's the one thing that connects us all, regardless of religion, because it transcends, much the way music does. And we were going to talk about that, how music connects us, how it doesn't matter when you're at a place like Woodstock, and there's so many different kinds of people, and so many backgrounds and colors, and isn't it all so beautiful that it all came together for the love of the music and the connection and the enjoyment. And that ecstasy of feeling like a part of something so much greater than yourself. And that's what spirituality is. It's you being this and being connected to all of that in a positive way, if you choose to, to do that, to search it out and to get to know yourself and have that positive relationship with yourself. So we all say we should love ourselves or else we can't really love other people, but you know, if people are negative, right, you know, there's a reason for that. And so we tend to retract from that when really we should attract to it so that we can, you know, bring greater positivity overall by expelling the negativity. And so religion is a belief system, whether a person needs that or not. And I, you know, I said I was raised Catholic, and it was sort of forced upon me, and most children, their religions are an adaptation of their parents, if they're lucky enough to experience that, because it is a positive experience, whether you stick with that religion or not. Now, to be Christian, right, is really to just love your brothers and sisters as yourself. And so if you see someone struggling, help them in any way you can. I just personally believe that if someone comes into your path, you know, there's a reason, and there's such a wonderful opportunity there to make a positive connection, whether that person, you know, you never see that person again or not. Just to reach out and say, you know, hi, how are you? And actually wait for an answer. You know, someone's sitting, you know, it's like the elevator moment, right? Yeah. It's so uncomfortable. You go into an elevator and you're like, should I say hi? Should I not? You're staring at the lights, you know, waiting for it to come to your floor. And here's this wonderful right? Because it's why we've been so conditioned to not just, you know. And I was a very closed person, and I you know, survived a lot of pain, and I lost my best friend to terminal cancer, and I just decided, no, I need to step up. I need to open up and say, you know, I have struggled with this, but I am a person who, you know, wants love, wants to love, and don't we all? So why not, you know, try to, and I get callers into the program afterward who just thank me and just say, I really look forward to your program every week because of the message that you bring. And I always feel so much better when the program is over. And gee, how wonderful for me, you know, that I am able to offer that. And I try to do that with every person that comes in contact with me. Even if you just smile at someone, just smile at them when you see them in the grocery store, because everyone's, you know, seems so, you know, there's so much going on in the world, and maybe they're a little closed or whatever, but, you know, that cashier or the person at the window in Dunkin' Donuts, or those are all just wonderful opportunities to say, hey, how you doing, you know, and I really hope you have a great day.
And as you say, really be asking, and not just
waiting for the
using
answer.
Words. Yes, waiting for, letting people know that you're not just saying, those aren't just empty words there.
Right. And being completely in every moment that you are, right? Because this is the present. You and I are sharing this moment right now. And I love the fact that it's called the present, because it's a gift. You know, this moment right now is a gift. Every day is a gift. It's a present. And you don't know if tomorrow you're going to get that gift again. You know, so I wake up and I say thank you. For the gift of being here today and being present in this moment with no phones and, you know, just connecting as we always did, but we're advancing so rapidly technologically, but we are digressing spiritually. We are not advancing as much spiritually, and it should be the other way around, but, you know, it takes time, and every little moment matters. So every chance you get, like I said, they might turn around and smile at somebody else, or say, you know, somebody made my day. Go home and say, I was having such a crappy day. And then this woman came in and she just took the time to, you know, say how I was doing, and it really made my day. You know, people have done it for me, made my day, you know, unexpectedly. And it's just a wonderful thing. So that's kind of what Sunday Solstice Radio is about.
You mentioned the idea that you can't direct love outward unless you direct love inward. You have to feel comfortable with yourself.
It has to come from that place in you.
But at the same time, it works the other way too, doesn't it? Where you can't really love yourself unless you experience sending love out to other people.
Now,
you learn.
That's an interesting thought.
It's an echo. It's an echo that's going to bounce back and forth.
Well, it's an exchange of energy too, right?
Yeah.
So if you were a child who was unfortunately not given a lot of affection, we need touch, just to, I'm a hugger, I actually hug trees too. I love trees. I love their energy.
Hey, you know what? There's a lot of energy in trees.
Beautiful energy, absolutely.
Yeah.
And every chance I get, if I've met someone and now that I've met you and the crew and everything, I'm going to hug everybody before I leave. And that's an exchange of energy. And I'm also a Reiki practitioner. I decided to become a Reiki practitioner again when my best friend was diagnosed with terminal illness because I wanted to somehow make it better for her in any way I could and help relieve her pain and just give her that healing energy. And that's a wonderful exchange. And I became an ordained minister also during this journey that I'm on of transformation with the radio program and the change in my mental attitude and of just wanting to be someone who just becoming more and more of the person I know I'm meant to become, which is to try to touch people's lives in some positive way, even if it is just very, very small, and being a Reiki practitioner, I've never accepted any compensation. I was in a bookstore one day and this woman was complaining. She worked there, she was a clerk. She just had her wisdom teeth pulled and some oral surgery and something was impacted and she was really struggling and she said, these pain pills aren't doing anything for me. I said, do you have a place? I'm a Reiki practitioner, can I help you? She said, well, my head, I don't know if you can do anything, the oxycodone's not helping me. I said, well, will you just let me try? So we went into a back room and she sat down and I gave her Reiki on her crown and everything and she almost fell asleep and I just, maybe 5 minutes, and she said, what is this Reiki stuff? It's magic.
Well, that's my question. Explain what Reiki is.
My pain is gone, and she thanked me, and I felt blessed.
So Reiki.
Because I had that moment with her.
I've heard the term.
It is energy healing, okay, with intention. So we all have energy that we expel and we receive. So when you are a Reiki practitioner, it is an ancient Asian healing method from Master Utsui. Sometimes I do not say his name correctly. And he had a lot of disciples that, he wanted to teach, this ancient art of energy healing. You can place your hands on the person or you can just be above their energy field. And I'm very sensitive, so I can usually feel where the person is experiencing pain.
Yeah.
And because everyone has a unique energy, much like your fingerprint or your voice, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing is working with your own energy and expelling the pain where the energy is blocked in your body. When your energy is blocked, or when you experience pain, all of your energy is going to that place to help the pain leave your body.
The same way the white blood cells go to an injury or to an infection to fight the infection.
Yeah, I'm not knowledgeable enough about that to say if that's true or not.
It sounds similar to that.
But it probably is very similar. So what you're doing is clearing their energy field so that their energy is oh boy. That's from Pat.
I promise I would every time. Hey, Basil. Yeah, you know what? Better watch out because you hear the sound I'm making. It's the sound of crackling flames. And I'm telling you better watch out because if anybody gets the notion in their head that you're the one that set that fire to the building next to the Opera House in Bethel, you're going to be in some sad trouble. We're going to have to come bail you out. Otherwise, maybe I'll take over his show. Wait, I can speak your language. How was that? Was that good? Said, nah, don't even go there. You have no chance. Okay, so I'll keep it under my hat about what you may or may not have done downtown. But okay. Oh, Basil Buddha Cat Presents! Exclamation point. And on Facebook, Basil Buddha cat. Okay.
So is it fair to say that he has a lot of catitude?
Oh, God.
Womp, 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 womp.
He's the cat of all cats has the catitude of all catitude.
You have to have catitude in this life, you know?
But, you know, he says he's snarky. I mean, he's been spent the last 2 years beating up on one Donald John Trump. And by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, but while Trump's out of town, his 12 cats, which are, by the way, all named Whitey, because it's easier for him that way, because he just yells out, "Hey, Whitey!" and all the 12 cats come to him. It's simplicity. While he's out of town, they've been leaving little tidbits in his Gucci's. I guess I shouldn't give him away about that.
So I guess his shoes are big enough to relieve themselves, is what you're saying.
Yeah, between.
Although I heard he had small feet. I just went there. I did. I told you I had a healthy sense of humor. But
Yeah, he and Ivanka apparently probably have a lot of enough shoes to fill up 3 rooms out of their 40 rooms in their house, in their apartment.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Now,
back to the Zen.
Back to the Zen, back to the spirituality, back to religion. You mentioned you grew up Catholic, and then found other things to complement your Catholicism. And I've been kind of doing that too, because I have a lot of friends that are Muslims. I have some friends that are a lot of friends that are Christians. I have a lot of friends that are Jewish, and I think the common denominator is that they're all pretty darn good people, and.
Yes, we would hope.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hope for that.
I've got one of the agents in my real estate office.
It's good to have it's absolutely almost essential to have a belief system, but mostly you have to have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have faith in yourself first. And then I think that, you know, those are sort of like going to school, right? It backs up that belief. It gives you more confidence to seek out. I sought out other religions because Catholicism to me seemed very routine, and I thought, you know, unfortunately I felt there was evidence of hypocrisy in it, and I questioned a lot. I was a very inquisitive child, so I wondered, you know, what about abortion? What about sex before marriage? What about reincarnation? What about, you know, this and that? And I just thought there's more. I know there's more, and I want to know it all. I like to look all the way around.
Questioning is a good thing.
And then,
questioning is a good thing. I mean, even Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, had doubts at the end, and questioned what God's purpose for him was, and it's, you know, we're by nature questioning creatures, and that's a good thing, because how else do you get to know one another? And again, the notion of how can you love someone else before you feel comfortable with yourself? Likewise, how can you have faith that there's something inside of you which is spiritual unless you recognize that spirituality with other people?
Great. That's a great premise to what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, they just pretty much echo one another.
Absolutely. With, again, mastery of yourself. So, sort of, I love the know thyself, you know, quote, because, you know, for self-mastery, and again, this would relate to whether you're seeking out the right religion for you, whether you're seeking out, am I a spiritual person but not religious, you know. So the number one factor of necessary for self-mastery is commitment. You have to be committed to whatever that journey is, to know yourself, or to, you know, find a religion that's, you know, appropriate for you. You have to then, number 2 is be able to surrender to that commitment. Surrender whatever it is you believed, and just keep your mind open, you know, because the answers are always there. There's so much noise all the time around us, and we just are constantly seeking all of our answers externally, when if we would just listen and be still and be quiet, those answers are all there. They're internal inside of us. Whether that is to you a God, or another deity, or an ancestor or a spiritual guide or an angel or just yourself. You know, you can answer your own questions. Then number 3 is the experiential practice. You have to practice anything and experience it. And I'm not just saying practice, I'm saying experiential practice, right? So you have to be completely willing to experience everything fully and completely while you're practicing towards this goal of self-mastery, or, you know, get a college degree, or find out which career is what you really want to do in life. Some people spend their whole lives searching and they never find it, and you know what it is that they thought they were looking for, but all the while it was always right there inside. And
I have a brother who has 2 degrees in mathematics and in music, 2 master's degrees, and he chose to be a house painter.
There you go. And if he's
that's what
happy
he felt comfortable with.
and that's his bliss,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing. You know, there's no, and again, we've all been conditioned to, you should succeed, you need to, you know, make money, you need to make a contribution or have children to society, or, you know, and again, you know, whatever your bliss is, who cares what everybody else thinks? Because again, happiness with yourself, peace within, you're going to emanate it to and the other people in your life are going to feel more comfortable. You need to be with the right person though, who supports you on that and respects your, you know, if being a house painter is what makes you happy, celebrate that. You know, your person in your life should celebrate that. Number 4, discipline, right? It takes a lot of discipline to strive toward what it is that you're seeking, and that's where we sometimes fall off the fence. And then 5 is patience, because we all lack that. 6 is faith, and again, faith in yourself, faith that the gold is there at the end waiting for you. And then the 7th step is mastery. And, you know, I try to live my life that way every day, and, you know, spread the joy around when I can, and be happy with everything I'm doing every moment.
And always be willing to question, even question yourself.
Yeah,
don't be afraid
absolutely.
to question your own self and what you do. Next week, we have one of the gubernatorial candidates for the state of Connecticut, Dan Drew, joining us, and currently the mayor of Middletown. And I will be joining you later on in August on your radio show.
Yes.
We're going to set that arrangement up, and I'll make sure I bring that Santana vinyl along with me. This has been Progressive Soup.
Please.
I'm David Stevenson.
Namaste.
Kendall.
Namaste.
So if she's Kendall, I'm Stevenson, and we'll leave it at that. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you.